I want to tell you a story about a magical necklace that I wear. It's got an amazing superpower. Do you want to know what it is?
Yes.
It stops me from taking my own life. Years ago, I was driving recklessly down some country roads and I'd had enough. Life had just beaten me and I wanted to end it all. And I remember that I was just starting to spiral out of control, and I was having these thoughts, things like, it'd be a lot better if I just wasn't here. I don't deserve this kind of life. I don't deserve to be happy. And I was spiraling. And I remember as I held the steering wheel of the car, I thought, if I just let go of this wheel, I'm gonna go through this feeble countryside road barrier. I'm gonna fall all the way down the hill, and that'll be it. But you know what was really scary as well? Was that there was one thought that kept going through my mind, and it was, let the chips fall where they may. It doesn't matter if I hurt somebody else, it doesn't matter if I die. But because I was spiraling, I had so many thoughts going through my mind, and I thought, well, what happens if it goes wrong? What's the worst that could happen? Well, if it goes wrong, then I'm probably going to be paralyzed. But I still didn't care. And I was just in knots about the whole thing. But then I remembered one thing. I remembered my son. And his face burned through that darkness and was just imprinted on my consciousness. I remembered Josh. And I started to think, how can I leave my son alone to face this horrible world? I wasn't raised like that. It's not what a man does, is it? It's not what a father does. And so I remembered him. And I remember gripping the steering wheel even tighter. And I went home. And nobody knew what nearly happened that day. Some time passed and things started to change, and I met somebody. I met Sarah, who's also here. And it's like, yay, a new relationship, you know, a light in the darkness. But it was actually quite a naive thought to have, because, well, you can all guess what the issue was. I was still broken, and I carried a lot of baggage into that relationship. And I carried a lot of anger as well. And Sarah would say to me, you've got this seething anger, like where's that coming from? And, you know, it would affect the relationship. And the main thing that we argued about was that Sarah was saying, you have been through a lot. You need to get help. And do you know what I said? No, I'm a man. I'm not weak. That's for weak people. And we kept having this argument. And thank God for a good woman. I think she has wisdom there. And I think that she knew how to get the best out of me. But one day we were having this argument again about, why aren't you going to get help? And she said this to me. And that made me realize that I'm not just losing her, I'm losing myself here. And I stand proudly before you today that I am the first person in my family to ever seek professional help. And it helped. I was able to work through so many things, and I realized that it wasn't weakness. And I was just being, well, a fucking idiot, let's be fair. And this is the point. The biggest thing that helped me was this. Life doesn't happen to us. Life happens for us. That was one of the biggest things that helped me get through everything. And another cool thing that my therapist said to me was that, look, why don't you buy something tangible that you can wear? And every time you have those thoughts, you can touch it, you can feel it, and it will remind you, don't do it. And that's why I wear this magic necklace. Yeah, I got the girl. And day by day, step by step, I started to rebuild the life that I wanted. And not only that, that I knew I deserved now. We have a wonderful family, and do you know what? I'm actually happy. I'm really, really happy. And I'm so happy that I can say that to you today. I don't know what the future mountains look like in my life, but I do know one thing. I'll be here for them. Thanks for listening to my story.